and loaded onto a wagon.
Wow.
Then a steamer. Then a tugboat bound for the Washington Navy Yard.
So even
Alexander Gardner and Timothy O'Sullivan board the ironclad monitors USS Saugus and Montauk to make collodion glass plate photographs of the men who conspired first to kidnap and then to kill Abraham Lincoln. George Atzerodt, who lost his nerve and got drunk rather than attempt to kill Vice President Johnson, is condemned to die.
What are they doing? George, age 30, died.
Mr. Lewis Powell.
After his savage but failed attempt on the life of Secretary of State Seward, Lewis Powell hides in Washington for 3 days before wandering into Mary Surratt's boarding house and into the arms of the police.
Don't you move now, laddie.
Don't move. Yeah.
Powell is sentenced to death.
Liar. He's 21, sentenced to death, Lewis Powell.
On April 27th, David Harold is brought aboard the USS Montauk. The young man who followed John Wilkes Booth to the bitter end is condemned to die.
Yeah. Age 23, David Harold sentenced to death.
And at the request of Secretary of State Stanton,
you're dying.
Alexander Gardner takes one more picture on April 27th.
Dr. Frederick May, can you positively identify the body?
Is there a scar upon the back of its neck?
There is.
Let me describe it before it's seen by me. It's on the left side and has the appearance more like the cicatrix of a burn than that of a surgical operation. It was occasioned when I removed a fibroid tumor from his neck.
It is exactly as you have described it.
Gotcha.
Yes. That is he. That is John Wilkes Booth.
The murder.
Gentlemen, please, stand where you are.
We get rigor mortis are setting in.
And perfectly still. 1, 2, 3.
James Wardell, one of Lafayette Baker's detectives, takes the single glass plate and delivers it to Lafayette Baker. It is presumed that Baker gives it to Secretary of War Stanton, but no one knows. Alexander Gardner's photograph of the autopsy of John Wilkes Booth has never been found. The trial of the conspirators is a military tribunal. 366 witnesses testify, and all of the defendants are found guilty. And in attempting to create a definitive record of the people and events surrounding the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, Alexander Gardner and Timothy O'Sullivan are given extraordinary and exclusive access. On July 7th, 1865, the sentences are carried out for the first assassination of a president in the history of the nation. And Mary Surratt becomes the first woman ever to be executed by the United States federal government when she joins Powell, Atzerodt, and Harold on a scaffold at the old Arsenal Penitentiary. In an interview 10 years later, the former president of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis, states simply, next to the destruction of the Confederacy, the death of Abraham Lincoln was the darkest day the South has ever known.
Wow.
Tad Lincoln learned of his father's assassination while attending
Executive
Aladdin
producer,
at Grover's
Howard
Theater.
Owens.
He died of heart
Executive
failure
producer,
6 years later.
narrated.
Briefly committed to an asylum by her only surviving son, Robert. Mary Todd Lincoln died in Springfield, 17 years after the assassination of her husband.
Your wife died 17
John Wilkes
years
Booth's
after
body was
Mary.
buried in a storage room at the old Arsenal Penitentiary, then in a warehouse, and finally interred in Greenmount Cemetery in Baltimore, Maryland, 4 years after the killing of Abraham Lincoln. 10 weeks after the president's death, the Civil War was over, and Lincoln's Gettysburg Declaration was realized. The government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Wow.
Just about 1 month from now, voters in Iowa will be the first in the nation to make their official pick for the